What do you know? The Cowboys, a team that has been rolling the season, and the Packers' 5 game skid. Green Bay takes the game, and there's a couple of different developments here for both sides. I'm going to start off with you. This is the type of win for Green Bay that seems to revitalize your season. Though when you look at the NFC North standings, they're far and away a runner up to Minnesota. Right now, when you look at this Green Bay Packer team, with the performance they had last night on prime time, can they get back into the playoff mix? And most of all, is there some cloud of hope, or just I guess, a box of hope, not a cloud? A cloud's a negative thing, for the Packers to get back on track and be a dark horse NFC Championship team this season?
I don't know about that. That's going a little too far. Making the playoffs though, there's a very realistic shot for the Green Bay Packers to make the playoffs. I've been saying it all season that I'm not really counting out Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady as well. I mean, listen, they got the Titans, the Eagles, Bears, Rams, Dolphins, Vikings, Lions to end the season. The two games in there that you say are like, all right, I mean, 3 games are going to be tough, but I think that if they can only lose two of the last, what is that, 6 games, I think that they can be in a good position to sneak their way into the 7th seed. Uh, but I've been saying it all year to you guys, you and Justin. I've been saying I'm not surprised if Aaron Rodgers goes out there and steals a game or wins a game because he's Aaron freaking Rodgers. And you guys, said, "Nah, there's no way." Like I'd be absolutely shocked if that happened. Well, he did it. He looked happy. Winning will do that. Throwing touchdowns will do that. Looking good will do that. Christian Watson had a big breakout day. 3 touchdowns. The run game was on point. AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones are running that ball. The Packers really played the style of football that I think we all kind of expected them to play, which is basically be a run first team and let Aaron Rodgers make a couple great throws a game. Basically be Aaron Rodgers, not turn the football over, make great throws, make great decisions. They haven't been that. That has to do with not sticking to the run game, not calling the right plays, uh, a lot of miscommunication between Rodgers and the young receivers, whether that be running the wrong routes, not being where he thought they should be, dropping passes, and the defense has really not played well, even though they have. I've said this before. I think the most first and second round uh, talents in the entire NFL. But they won the game yesterday. They beat the Dallas Cowboys in a big game. I thought the Cowboys were going to win. Uh, One thing I mean, the kryptonite for the Cowboys is what we have always known it was this year. They can't stop the run, and when you can't stop the run, it's going to be very difficult. Especially, I mean, you're not going to let Micah Parsons, your best player, be able to tee off. That run game is going to, the players are going to get tired. They're going to get beat up. They're 30th, I believe, in the NFL right now in stopping the run. Bad. They allowed 207 yards rushing against the Green Bay Packers.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Best Amp. When it comes to sports betting, guys, all of us want to make the most money, want to get the best bang for our buck. And with the Best Amp app, what they'll provide you with is the best odds across the sports betting market. All you have to do is download their completely free app and sign up for any of the variety of sports books out there so that you can give yourself an edge in the game. Be sure to bet like a pro with the Best Amp app. Not only is it free, but it provides so many other perks. Custom betting trackers. If you want to sell any picks, and there's no commission, royalty free. You get the entire cut. Thank you to Best Damn for supporting our show. And as always, let's get back to it.
Matt LaFleur needs to start calling the Green Bay offense like a Kyle Shanahan. Use the running backs, use the 2 running backs, use the motion, use your playmakers, intermediate passing game. He comes from the Shanahan tree. I believe his first job in the NFL was with the Washington Commanders, under Mike Shanahan in 2010 to 2013. I think he was the quarterbacks coach. That was the RG3 team, and then going into Kirk Cousins, I believe. And then he was also spent a year under Sean McVay with the Los Angeles Rams. He needs to start, coaching like them too.
He also was in Houston with Arian Foster back in 2009 and 2010. You know, BCAP, for the Cowboys to come off the bye week, I'm not going to overreact to this loss, but it was very bizarre that Dan Quinn used Micah Parsons on only 10 snaps as an edge rusher. I felt like for an offensive line this year, they struggled so much. Josh Nyman did a pretty good job in the limited sample against Micah, but I felt like Dallas did a poor job, really just letting Micah play where he is absolute best, where he's a game wrecker, and that's on the edge. And that really was bizarre to me because even while using him less as an edge, they still could not stop the run. And for the Packers, it's quite straightforward. When I said they were going to go to the NFC Championship game this year and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it was because I expected these rookie receivers to make an impact by the end of the year. And through 10 weeks, Christian Watson was mostly a non factor, and Romeo Doubs was the only receiver that seemed to have some level of upside, to be more than a 600 yards guy, given Randall Cobb's an IR with an ankle injury. Sammy Watkins is cooked. And just generally speaking, Alan Lazard is like a low end wide receiver number two, maybe a good wide receiver number three. And to have 4 catches, 100 plus yards, and 3 TDs on a crucial fourth down in the fourth quarter, Christian Watson showed us these receivers have all the tools, all the upside to take over games. It's just a matter of having that confidence. And I think the mental fortitude for again Watson to drop a crucial pass on third down earlier in the game, and then Aaron Rodgers goes right back to him. He connects on a crucial 40 plus yard touchdown. That got the confidence going. That got him feeling right. First touchdown of the season. And now we're seeing Watson get going in a crucial part of the year where the schedule is only going to get tougher. And there's about 4 or 5 teams all competing for that wild card spot. And so to have Romeo Doubs sooner rather than later coming back from injury and Watson clicking at this time, there is hope. There is hope the Packers offense can be the balanced attack most NFL fans expected coming into the season. I still feel like they lack consistency on the outside, but when you have that level of playmaking and dynamicism with what Watson can do week in and week out, give him just the physical tools. I'm not out on Green Bay, and there's still a very real chance they can just scrap in 9 or 10 wins and grab a wild card spot.
I'm not going to blow up the Dallas Cowboys loss either. Yeah, Dak turned the football over twice, but really both times it was miscommunication. The first one, it was Dalton Schultz really crowding the middle of the field, and you saw afterwards Dak and CD basically telling Schultz that, like, yo, you're not supposed to be here. And then the other one was a miscommunication between Dak and CD Lamb. They do have to get on the same page, right? All the receivers and Dak have to get onto the same page. I think that's just going to come with more reps, being in practice more, game time more, and going down the season. The real, like I said, the real kryptonite is they can't stop the run. Like, it's okay to be middle of the pack, right, against stopping the run, but when you're the 30th ranked team, that's not a recipe for success. Because if you look at basically all the teams in the NFC, right? Vikings, Dalvin Cook can run the ball. Philadelphia can run the ball. The Giants can run the ball. The 49ers can run the ball. The Seahawks, even though the Buccaneers stopped them last week, they can run the football. So it's not looking. And we saw the Buccaneers on opening night with Leonard Fournette run the hell out of against Dallas. They've got to shore that up. That needs to be shored up.
What is the difference between last year's Cowboys team that won 11 games and this year's Cowboys team?
That's a good question. It, I mean, obviously the offense isn't as explosive, right? Uh, Last year they led the league. They were number one in, I believe, scoring and yards. This year they're not that. The defense is better, except for against stopping the run. Yeah, I guess that's really it. I mean, they're not if the offense if the defense of this year and the offense of last year could have came together, we would be looking at a much better team. But that's not the case. And that comes with a lot of things. You know, Amari Cooper obviously being gone. and CD Lamb having to fill up that role. Michael Gallup coming off a torn ACL. That's a lot of things, a lot of things going on in the offense there. So that's why everybody's like, "Yo, let's get Odell in there." Uh, so yeah, they got to figure a couple things out. But I think main point I think is they gotta figure out how they can at least slow the run game down.
Yeah, they added Jonathan Hankins from the Raiders, hoping that could be the difference,
That
and
did
it
that
just
did.
probably is not enough when you look at that performance. But you have to give a tip of the cap to Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. Dillon had one of his better games in the season. For Green Bay, that should be one of the better running games, and for Dallas, this was a great test of how good of a team they are. And I made a mistake before. They won 12 games last year, not 11. I feel like this is the same exact team, a good wild card squad that ultimately has a bad coach
Yeah,
and struggles in these big time games. I think they're going to be a one and done yet again this year. So if
and
there's
I
anything else you have, be sure to add it.
yeah, and I really think last thing, I really think you hit the nail on the head. I think the main reason that this team struggles in the biggest moments is because of the head guy. You're telling me right now if Sean Payton was the head coach right now that come on. But yeah,